I was so excited to see my sister. She was coming up to visit me from Florida. I lived in New York. I hadn't seen her in about 2 years or so, and I had the whole week planned out. Not that we were going to do much, because we were expecting a snowstorm. It was actually going to start the same day she arrived. So I figured we'll just play some board games, sing karaoke, watch some movies, reminisce about old times. However, I was worried that the weather might affect her flight. She was scheduled to arrive around 8:30 a.m. and the storm was supposed to start early afternoon, around 1 or so. So I figured that she should be okay. She'll be just beating the storm. I decided to make rooms for her bag in a coat closet. She was only staying for a week, so she wouldn't need much space. And she would be sleeping in the living room on my sofa couch because I lived in a one-bedroom apartment. As I was cleaning out the closet and throwing things away that I barely used and forgot about, I ran across an old, dusty shoebox that I've had ever since I was a child. I haven't looked through this box in years, so I took a moment from cleaning to sit down and go through it. Inside was a ribbon, a tiny little doll, a few other small toys that I used to love as a kid, and a picture of me playing one of my favorite games, Tea Party. I was sitting at a table set for two, me sitting on one end, and on the other end was an empty chair pulled away from the table. And that's because my imaginary friend sat there. Her name was Gina. I had to be around 8 around the time this picture was taken. And I had to laugh because I remember all the trouble Gina used to get me in, especially at night when I should have been in bed fast asleep, and she would come and whisper in my ear and say, "Hey, let's play." She always waited till the middle of the night, which was weird to me as a kid. But I did it, and I would get in so much trouble. I was about 9 and a half, when my mother had enough of the shenanigans and told me that I was getting too old to have imaginary friends. So Gina just slowly but surely faded away. I ended up placing the box back in the closet on the top shelf, but I did leave the picture out. I thought it would be a good conversation to have when my sister came, something that we both could laugh about. I finished cleaning up, made dinner, ate, and decided to call it a night. She was arriving in the morning, and I didn't want to be too tired. I woke up to my phone ringing around 3 a.m. It was my sister informing me that her flight was still listed as on time, and she'll be arriving around 8:30. Also, that she'll take an Uber to the house. I said okay, still half asleep, and hung up. I woke up around 9:45 a.m. and immediately grabbed for my phone. It was dead. Then I got concerned because what if my sister tried to call me? I plugged it in and called her, but it rang out and went to voicemail. I figured that she was probably on her way. I dozed off again and woke up to knocking on the door around 10:30 a.m. I knew it was her because I never had guests uninvited. I jumped up and rushed to the door, and when I opened it, my sister was standing there holding two bags. "Hey, sis," I said with a big smile on my face as I went in to grab one of the bags from her hand and helped her in the door. It was early, so I made breakfast while she finished settling in. I was too busy cooking to notice that she had come in the kitchen. When I turned around, I jumped. "Oh my God, I didn't know you was in here." She didn't say anything. Instead, she had a blank look on her face, kind of how people look when they daydream. "Are you okay?" She didn't really answer. She just nodded. and sat down at the kitchen table. Then I noticed her staring at the picture of me playing Tea Party when I was a little girl. Do you remember this picture? Do you remember how I used to always play with Johnny Gina and you would hate it? You were saying that we left you out? Well, I found this picture up in the closet. Can you believe it? Without looking up from the picture, she said, "Yeah, I remember," under her voice. I was getting a weird vibe from my sister. She seemed a little distant and standoffish. I just took it as she was tired from her trip, and there was a lot of snow outside. So I know it must have been hard getting an Uber from the airport. So I didn't think much of it. She then asked me if she could use my phone. She said she placed hers in her suitcase and she didn't feel like digging for it. Sure, it's right here. I handed her my phone and she walked back into my bedroom and closed the door. I just went on making breakfast. We pretty much took it easy for the rest of the day. Later on that night, we watched a horror movie and ended up going to sleep. The next morning, I woke up and my sister left a letter on a kitchen table saying that she went out to buy us some breakfast and that she took my phone because she was rushing and she couldn't find where she placed hers. After about 45 minutes, I started to wonder what was taking her so long. I know there was still a lot of snow on the ground and that it would be hard to get around, but the stores were no longer than 10 minutes from my house walking. I started to worry and start looking around for her phone so I can call her. I couldn't find it anywhere. Another 20 minutes passed and I heard the door open. What the hell took you so long? I was starting to worry. Yeah, while I was out, I decided to stop at a few stores and get gifts to take back to Florida. Okay, I said. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I just let it go and we ate breakfast. Later that night, after having dinner and a few glasses of wine, I tried desperately to have a conversation with her and catch up. But it was like I was talking to myself. She seemed very distant and distracted, as though her mind was elsewhere. So we just ended up putting on another movie, and I dozed off on a couch. At around 3 a.m., I woke up to loud banging coming from the kitchen. I heard the silverware drawer opening and closing, but the kitchen light was off. I got up to see what the hell was going on, and when I arrived in the kitchen, I just seen my sister going in the silverware drawer, opening it, and closing it again. What are you doing? She came up with this lame excuse of how she was trying to find a knife so that she could cut a piece of cake. And she didn't turn the lights on because she didn't want to disturb me. She's sorry that she was making so much noise. When I looked over, I seen that she had my phone. I turned on the kitchen light, grabbed my phone, and went to bed. Her story didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But like I said, I had a few glasses of wine earlier. It was the middle of the night, and all I cared about was getting some more rest. The next day, I was still confused about what happened that night. I worked from home, so I stayed busy in my room for most of the day. I did hear my sister in the living room talking on her phone in a very quiet voice. I couldn't make out what she was saying and paid it no mind. 3 days went by, and I was honestly ready for my sister to leave. This visit was turning out to be a nightmare. Every time I tried to start a conversation, she would give me some short replies and kept finding any excuse to use my phone. She would wake up at random hours of the night, and I would hear her pacing back and forth from the living room to the kitchen. On the fifth night, I was awakened by loud noises again. I had just about enough of this at this point. I peeped my head out my bedroom door. The kitchen was down the hall from my room, so I could see it, and I yelled at her to stop making so much noise. I heard the silverware drawer slam again, and then it went quiet. I just stood there looking down the hallway. A few moments later, my sister ran from the kitchen to the living room. What kind of shit is this? I was really freaked out. I closed my bedroom door and locked it. In 2 more days, my sister would be on her way back to Florida, so I decided to ignore her and stay busy with work in my room. On the last night, I decided to sit in the living room and do some work from my laptop, not really saying much to her, but I thought we could just hang out in silence. She went to take a shower, and I decided to put Netflix on. I had a new voicemail that was left about an hour ago. It said it was from my sister. I thought, why would she leave me a voicemail when we're both here in the house? She was still in the shower. I could see the bathroom from where I was sitting in the living room. So I called my voicemail and listened to it. This is what I heard. Hey sis, I've been trying to call you. I don't know what's going on with your phone, but every time I call it keeps going straight to voicemail. Anyways, I booked another flight for tomorrow afternoon. It departs around 2:30, so I should be arriving in New York around 5. Give me a call back when you get this. Bye. I sat there for a few seconds staring at my phone, feeling confused. Was my sister playing some type of joke on me? So I immediately called her phone. I remember her taking it with her into the bathroom. The phone started ringing on my end, but I didn't hear her phone ringing from the bathroom. I could hear the shower running because the door was cracked. I jumped up from the couch when someone picked up the phone. It was my sister. Girl, what's been going on with your phone? I've been calling you for the past few days and I just keep getting your voicemail. Now really freaked out and confused, I started walking towards the bathroom. If my sister was playing a joke on me, I would hear the shower running in the background. What do you mean? My voice was shaky and weak at this point. I was freaking out. Your flight wasn't canceled. You've been here the whole week. You're in the bathroom, taking a shower right now. Are you playing some type of joke on me? Ha ha, funny, she said. I spoke to you that day. You said you were out shopping and that you would call me back, but you never did. So, what are you talking about? I was now at the bathroom door and I peeped through the crack. When I seen the phone sitting on the sink, I was scared stiff. Shivers ran down my spine, and I felt the room spinning around me. My phone slipped from my hand as I slowly backed away from the door. I heard the shower turn off. And when I turned around, I seen a little girl with black, unkept hair, a long green dress. She didn't have any eyes, and her chin was hanging low as if her face was falling off. It was Gina. I started shaking so hard that I fell, and she slowly started gliding towards me. Now looking up at her, she tilted her head and said in this creepy voice,
You forgot about me. Do you want to play?